The United States operates one of the most complex and decentralized electoral systems in the world. Understanding how elections function is key to appreciating the foundations of American democracy. This brief explanation will outline the essential components of the U.S. election system, from voter registration to the Electoral College, as well as examine its shortcomings and opportunities for reform. In the U.S., citizens must actively register to vote. Each state has its own rules regarding registration deadlines and requirements. Some states offer same-day registration, while others require registration weeks in advance. Eligibility criteria typically include U.S. citizenship, residency in the state where you're voting, and being at least 18 years old on election day. However, access to registration is not always equitable. Some states impose restrictions, such as requiring specific forms of identification, which can disproportionately affect low-income individuals and minority communities. Elections are primarily managed at the state level. Each state determines its own voting methods, ballot designs, and polling place procedures. This decentralized approach means that voters in different states may experience different processes. While this system reflects federalism, it also creates disparities in voting access and efficiency. States with underfunded election systems often struggle with outdated technology and long wait times, discouraging voter turnout. There are several ways to cast a vote in the US. In-person voting. Voters can visit polling places on election day or during an early voting period, which many states offer. Absentee or mail-in voting. Voters can request a ballot to fill out and return by mail. Some states automatically mail ballots to all registered voters. While mail-in voting expands access, it has been a target of misinformation campaigns, undermining public confidence. Provisional ballots. These are given to voters whose eligibility is in question. Provisional ballots are only counted once the voter's eligibility is verified, but some argue that their use can disproportionately disenfranchise voters. Federal elections are held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Polling places are open throughout the day to accommodate voters. In some states, long lines and limited polling locations remain a significant challenge, particularly in urban and minority-dominated areas. Advocates have called for measures such as making Election Day a federal holiday to increase participation and reduce barriers. After polls close, election officials count the votes. States have strict procedures for verifying and certifying results to ensure accuracy. In close races, recounts may be initiated either automatically or by request. While safeguards exist, issues like delayed counts and claims of fraud have fueled mistrust in the process. Increased transparency and uniform standards across states could help bolster public confidence. Presidential elections in the US are determined by the Electoral College, not the popular vote. Each state has a number of electoral votes equal to its total representation in Congress. Most states use a winner-takes-all system, meaning the candidate with the most votes in a state wins all its electoral votes. This system has been criticized for disproportionately amplifying the influence of smaller states and swing states while sidelining the popular vote. Twice in recent history, 2000 and 2016, the candidate who won the presidency did not win the popular vote. Many argue for reforms, such as adopting a national popular vote or proportional allocation of electoral votes to make the system more representative. Beyond the presidency, voters also elect members of Congress, governors, state legislators, and local officials. These elections are equally important and often have a more direct impact on citizens' daily lives. However, issues like gerrymandering, the manipulation of district boundaries to favour one party, undermine fairness. Gerrymandered districts dilute votes and reduce competition, often leading to outcomes that do not reflect the will of the majority. The US electoral system faces significant challenges, including voter suppression, misinformation, and outdated infrastructure. Gerrymandering and the Electoral College disproportionately affect voter influence, raising questions about the equity of representation. However, advancements like online voter registration, expanded early voting, and election security measures are helping to modernize the process. Advocates for change argue that these challenges are not insurmountable, and reforms, such as independent redistricting commissions and electoral system updates, can ensure a fairer and more inclusive democracy. Elections in the US are a cornerstone of democracy, offering citizens the opportunity to shape their government. While the system is intricate and deeply entrenched, it is also imperfect. Issues like gerrymandering, unequal access to voting, and the limitations of the Electoral College highlight areas in need of reform. Yet these challenges remind us that democracy is not static, it evolves as society does. By understanding how elections operate and where they fall short, citizens can advocate for meaningful change and ensure a more equitable future for all voters.